Hello everyone and welcome to the Wolfszeit channel. Today with a very special topic, always special. The dismount mechanics of the game, because Star Wars changed that over the time a lot. And I collaborated with my buddy Rhias, which is a high skilled PvP player. Since the first game, I put the link to his channel in the description. And we tested the dismount mechanics with these weapons. Of course, some of them are not the best, but the dismount mechanic is only about the blunt damage. So the slashing and piercing doesn't matter. But you can also dismount with lances easily, but they don't have so much blunt damage. How do they do that? The piercing damage counts as force damage when you ride, and that is why you can dismount with a lance, even when you have, 5 blunt damage with the lance. So we tested this with a pick. I will not wear any armor that we have the raw stats. Of course, if you have, for example, an steel armor on you, then it's a lot harder to dismount you, because someone has to give you 25 blunt damage, actual blunt damage. So if you, for example, having plate scales or panzer scales with an iron fur armor, and you have the skill knockdown resistance at 100, it's nearly impossible to dismount you. Then the skill makes sense. If you're running around in armor that has no good blunt protection, if you're running around in paper armor, or you are a mage and you don't run around in plate scales or panzer scales with iron fur or something that reduces blunt damage, then it doesn't make a lot of sense, in my opinion, to invest the 100 points into balance, because the chance that you're still getting dismounted is very, very high compared to a fighter with more blunt resistance in his armor. And it really depends on your personal preferences. I will tell you how we tested, what we tested, and then I will tell you the results. So we tested a shit ton of dismounting. And the interesting thing is, if you don't have the skill knockdown resistance or balance, then the dismount damage you need to be dismounted from a mount, doesn't matter if it's a pig or a horse, it doesn't matter. It's always 25 blunt damage. It's the raw blunt damage. So if you're, for example, wearing an armor and the armor is reducing the blunt damage of the opponent, then when the reduced blunt damage is over 25, you are getting dismounted. And the only thing that the skill knockdown resistance does is to just double this value, so that you need 50 raw blunt damage to dismount someone. But when you look in the skill description, it increases the ability to maintain balance when performing feats of agility and resisting an impact. This training develops the sensory motors skills used to maintain gravitational center. A higher skill slightly decreases knockback distance. In an earlier video I said that Star Wars really need to update all their skills descriptions, because from that skill description, how should someone know that you actually need this skill as a mounted player when in the description it's not even said, while the tests are running in the background, a few of them, about mounts. It's only about resisting an impact. And the thing is, if you, for example, don't wear armor, it's pretty easy to come over the 50 blunt damage. In my case, I have now knockdown resistance 77, so it should be about 40. So if he's hitting over 40, I guess, then I'm getting dismounted. If he's hitting under 40, I'm not getting dismounted. And yeah, exactly this was the case. The thing is, this completely randomizes more or less with the armors, because you don't know what armor your opponent is wearing. So if you really want to dismount someone, you really need raw blunt weapons. Different weapon types have different blunt modifiers. This is very important to say here. So choose your weapon wisely. If you have, for example, a flanked mace. A flanked mace is half blunt damage and half slashing damage. So in order to dismount me, you need to hit me over 80 damage with a flanked mace. For weapons, this is also different. You can also dismount people with swords, because swords also have an blunt damage modifier. And now completely forget what I've told you the whole video, because now we will look a little bit closer to lances. Lances are making piercing damage, but when you are riding them, you are doing piercing damage with force. You are riding, so the piercing damage is actual blunt damage. And that's why a lot of lances can nearly instantly dismount you. It also depends on the material, of course. Dismount with axes is also a no-brainer. This is also very easy, because axes also have a blunt modifier. But of course, if you really want to dismount someone, just use hammers. And if you are mounted and you can see that the individual you are fighting against has a sword, and you maybe, for example, also someone who knows the materials in the game, who knows what material looks like what, then you can easily identify in the field if this guy can dismount you or not. And I highly recommend this to anyone who is playing unmounted. Learn the materials of the weapons. This is really necessary, and this can really save your ass. And when you are someone that really likes to dismount other people, then I have also a tip for you. Take materials that does high blunt damage, of course, and maybe change the core material of your weapon a little bit. Maybe the weapon weighs then 0.2 more, but you can maybe dismount someone. And I highly recommend this to anyone who's playing in a certain area all the time, that you're getting your default gear perfect. That you're really working on your default gear, that it's perfect for your use case and what you want to do. And yeah, I've seen a lot of people that were playing for months, and even good PvP players who doesn't know the materials. You don't have to know the materials. The thing is, the one who knows the material of the opponent, who knows, for example, oh, this is a Throzer, he has maybe 10% blunt damage rings. Oh, but he's fighting with a sword, with a Jedi sword. Oh, no problem, I have knockdown resistance, he can't dismount me. And on the other hand, that fighter could have, I don't know, an Ogmium sword with a, I don't know, a Tindremic messing core and can dismount you, a hardcore, when you don't know if it's a Jedi sword or a Tindremic messing sword. And this can really save your life. Or you forget completely what I have said the whole video, and you're just playing a mage and using Earthquake. So Earthquake will still dismount you. So yeah, you can protect yourself against dismounting as good as you want. But the safest route for dismounting is still just don't be in the reach. And this brings me to my next very important topic. I've asked Henrik in his stream where I was present, and I asked him if we can have the blunt arrows again. He said yes. And with that, and this damage cap of 25 and 50 can be reached with the blunt arrows, like we had in the first game, by the way. The current thing is, for example, you are on foot somewhere, a mounted archer comes your way. You can't dismount this guy because he's not gonna go into your reach. Then you pick out your longbow. The thing is, this longbow can't dismount. It would be such a game changer when we have blunt arrows in this game. No shit. Like we had in the first game. Because that would exactly solve this gap. I mean, I remember it. They brought in the blunt arrows just because to solve this problem, that people are getting bothered by mounted archers. But this caused another problem. Mounted archers were able to easily dismount all the other people. Then they changed it again, and then you couldn't dismount anymore with blunt arrow tips, and they just had blunt damage. So we can only guess what Star Wars will do. I think they will not make the same mistake. Maybe they have a better solution for this. Maybe you have a better solution for this. So please leave that in the comments. Would be awesome, by the way. And yeah, I hope you liked this video and this explanation. If you want to see more of these videos, please comment below what you want to see. And yeah, special thanks to all the supporters, of course. Carmel, Paladin Life, Lucario, Ronus, Patalax, Cologne Bulldog, and all the others, of course. And never forget to dismount hard. Party hard. And see you all next time. Goodbye.